WWDB 860. Discover spirituality for everyday living with religion and inspiration with Cantor Scott Forsky. Celebrant, educator, chaplain, and speaker, Cantor Scott Forsky will open your eyes to the joy and meaning in our everyday lives with a generous dose of good humor. Cantor Forsky can help everyone discover inspiration in the everyday moments of their religion, background, tradition, and beliefs. It's 30 minutes well spent. Religion and inspiration with Cantor Scott Forsky, Sunday mornings at 7:30 on WWDB.
Hi, I'm Cody DePablo. Cancer, we don't want to think about it, but I had to because, well, I was busy, working, traveling, enjoying life. Completely forgot to pay attention to my health. Too much time passed since my last path. By the time I was tested, things didn't look too good. We thought I might have cervical cancer. Cervical, ovarian, and uterine cancers are gynecologic cancers. I was lucky. After lots of worries, no cancer. I've always been very close to my mother. When we finally got good results, she broke down. And that's when I realized it's not just about me. It's about your loved ones, too. So women, get a Pap test to check for cervical cancer and get the inside knowledge about gynecologic cancers.
A message from the Inside Knowledge Campaign and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. For more information, call 1-800-CDC-INFO.
When the Wall Street Journal needed expert views on crisis intervention and mental health, they called the consortium. When the United States Department of Health and Human Services needed to launch their national 988 hotline, they came to the consortium, and so can you. Here's consortium CEO John White Jr.
Mental wellness influences so many aspects of our lives. Long before the headlines, we were on the front lines. We've been pioneering the art of helping people feel better for more than 50 years. Our expertise is unsurpassed. Today, so many people are under a lot of pressure, telling themselves, I'm okay. Trauma is real. Our counselors can help you feel better now. And when you feel better, you achieve more. With our proven strategies and compassionate guidance, you and your gifts will shine. We've helped thousands of people, and we can help you feel better now. Give us a call, 215-596-8100.
That's right. Call the consortium, 215-596-8100. Listen to Bishop Mary. Call 215-596-8100.
WWDB 860 AM Philadelphia and WPEN HD2 Burlington, Philadelphia.
Good afternoon, Greater Philadelphia area. This is Toole Time, Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Time, and she's Stacy Mitchell. We've got Nick Wolf behind the camera, and we all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we're going to cover some interesting stuff today. The New Year's here. I'm glad the holidays are over. I don't know about you guys. Apparently, Sarah's daughter is still sleeping from a very busy schedule. We've got some interesting data from Lance Lambert talking about the trough of the lock-in effect may have already passed in the fourth quarter. We've got some predictions about the Philadelphia being one of the top 10 growth markets in the country, a cybersecurity issue with the second largest title underwriter in the country, and some over-under predictions about what's going to happen in the market this year from the residential side. So if you get any value out of this, do us a favor and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click on the bell for notifications. We're here every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. So let's get going here with Lance Lambert's predictions. So if you don't know Lance Lambert, he's got a website. It's called ResiClubAnalytics.com. He's one of the preeminent housing economists out there, in my view. And he's got a data point here that I found to be very exciting. And it talks about the missing new listings, or the listing deficit. And what this number represents is how many fewer new listings there were per any given month compared to the same month in 2019, which was, before we saw this kind of bananas sort of housing market, the unicorn market, take effect. And there's also, in some cases, a surplus of new listings. So it's a really great chart he's got here. But the data point I like is that if you look at in November 2023, there was a new listing deficit of 51,886 homes. That was down, he says slightly, I would argue it's substantial, from 73,968 of a new listing deficit in November 2022, suggesting that the peak lock in effect might be behind us. We're talking about 20,000 properties here. I found that to be very interesting, especially when you look at this chart here and you can see how the deficit was pretty tough. I mean, if you take out the COVID shutdowns, I mean, the second half of 22 and really the beginning of 23 were as brutal as we may have thought. Seeing this piece of data, ladies, I mean, what do you think about the lock-in effect? Are we going to see this go the other way now? What's your vision for where inventory goes as we head into January, February, March here of 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is like great to see here. I know, like I would expect there to be a lot more listings that come up. When we were looking at that huge difference between people that locked in at the low rate versus when they were kind of at their peak there in the fall of like close to 8%. I mean, that's huge. As the rates come down, tick down a little bit, and the potential like need to move may increase for some people. I think that's going to kind of tighten the gap there and allow people to unlock and put their home on the market.
Yeah, I have to agree. I've had a few conversations over the past month while people were kind of hunkering down for the holidays, and the conversation surrounded the current interest rates. When we saw the interest rates come to down to 6.25, that's what exactly the range and less of what these particular clients were looking for to be able to make it make sense to them. They're currently sitting in the fours. So, but they have a strong desire to move.
Right.
So they have options now. That 6.25% is, and if they buy down a couple of points, it would get them into the fives. That makes sense for them, especially because they do want to upsize their homes. They're busting out because of kids and everything else. So this is all positive, what we're seeing. And it creates more excitement, for potential buyers out there and gives them hope and a positive outlook, as opposed to when they were ticking up to 8 and they were like, well, we're going to be stuck in these houses, for a long period of time. So that's what I'm seeing out there in the market. And also I noticed today, just going in the MLS and the hot sheets and everything, there's more inventory. I sent, I think, 4 or 5 listings to people that matched their criteria.
Oh, awesome.
And they didn't even know about it. Like, they had no clue. So for me to bring this to them, it created some hope and excitement to them too. And I already booked a couple of showings based on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and like as the difference between the interest rates shrinks a little bit, paired with, the appreciation they've most likely had in their home and what they would potentially be able to sell it for, and then to use that towards the next one, it does start to make a lot more sense. And I think it's exciting.
It is.
This to me is one of the many reasons that home buyers and home sellers, because remember, most of these people got to go buy a home that are going to sell. I mean, that's just the reality. They should be more optimistic about how the market's going to play out. It's not going to be some buyer-friendly market. It's going to be a market that gives you time to make decisions, that gives you maybe some more options than you had. Because even in 2019, that's where they're comparing this to. It was not a buyer-friendly market in 2019. 2019 was still a very seller-friendly market. Homes are moving quickly. Homes are selling with multiple offers. Those are just facts. And when you look at this, seeing inventory come up is going to be great for everybody. We're seeing the Fed take a much less hawkish stance, and they're talking about we're going to have 3 rate cuts. Some people like Logan Mohtashami from Housing Wire are predicting 6 rate cuts in 2024. Right now, there's an 87% chance nothing happens and a 12.9% chance that we see a rate cut in 30 days, according to our friends at the CME Group. We've got Lawrence Yun predicting 30% more inventory this year. Like that would be bananas, right? And all of these things happening, what I see here, and we don't even have the December data yet, and I think that's the thing you got to, and there was a little bit of a holiday slumber for sure, Stace, as you had kind of mentioned. All of these things are moving towards, if you want to make a real estate decision, waiting may have been the right move. And now, if you get ahead of the game, you might be ahead of the rest of the market here, because you're telling me people that were actively looking for homes didn't know about homes for sale. That's wild to me. How often does that happen, though? I mean, we've seen this happen a lot. So how are you communicating this to people that are thinking about doing something in the next 6, 12, 18 months? Because to me, it's our job to get the word out about all these positive things happening, because I don't think that there's positive headlines, but you're telling me active people that were looking for homes. They didn't know about properties. I mean, that to me tells me that the consumers aren't aware of all the positive things happening in the market and how the market may be moving towards people who want to transact a little more than where it was just 2 months ago when we saw 8% rates.
Yeah, I think the people that I sent these listings to, they must have been, just really enjoying the holidays.
Yeah.
Because they were totally checked out for the most part.
Right.
And so to reconnect with them with actual inventory, I had something to give to them. Like I had something to show them that met their criteria, and it was pretty exciting. Most of them are coming soon on Thursday or Friday, but it's like, yes, finally it's a breakthrough. Let's get out there and look. Coupled with the interest rates dropping, because that happened in the past couple of weeks.
Yep.
People were already into the holiday thing, so
Right.
they had totally pretty much checked out.
Right.
So it was definitely met with enthusiasm and excitement. And, I'm just catching people. There's one family, they're getting ready to travel for a couple of weeks, but we're able to sneak in and see this house. It's exactly what they've been waiting for and lost out on back in June of last year.
Oh, wow.
It's a very, very similar home. They missed out on, they put an offer in and they got beat out. And we've been waiting for the perfect home. Well, here it is. So let's go see it. So to me, I mean, I'm very hopeful. It's already starting out well with homes coming on the market, inventory for people and for sellers. Sellers are definitely ready to make the move. They've people who have if it's an investment property, and they're looking to make 2024 their year to cash out. I've circled back with investors. So I think it's going to be a really busy year. I'm very optimistic just by how it's starting out.
Well, and there's other reasons. I think locally our market in the greater Philadelphia area was named one of the top 10 growth markets by the National Association of Realtors this past month. And when you look at that, I've always felt that the market here is very undervalued compared to like Washington, D.C., Boston, New York. Obviously, those places have much higher price points. When you look at the reasons behind what would classify you as a top 10 growth market, there's things like strong job growth, renters who can now afford to buy medium-priced homes, more potential sellers, a larger decrease in remote workers, more affordable listings for first-time buyers, stronger job growth, as I mentioned, faster income growth, and the most high-earner millennial renters moving into the area. So when I see those things happening locally within the marketplace, because all the growth markets you've seen, it's like Austin or like these cities that have very small populations. The fact that when you look at this, just these three cities alone, I mean, that are mentioned on here are the top 10. You've got Washington, D.C. is number 10. Philadelphia's number 8. And you have Houston at number 6. I mean, those are three large markets. And the rest of them are, smaller markets with the exception of Dallas, which is ranked at number 2. I see all that as even more positive news. And these are things that people don't realize. I mean, when you've got job growth coming to the marketplace and you've got more people making money coming into the marketplace, that's great for sellers along with buyers. So the fact that I've never seen Philadelphia on one of these lists, like ever. It's usually like these other cities, Austin's an example. A lot of the cities out west, like Seattle, Denver, those places. So are you feeling any of this like relo sort of demand coming into the market right now? Have you heard of any of that? I know we're one day in here, even though we've been working the past month. There's other people that haven't. So is this having an effect on the market as well, is my question?
I know I have one couple that I've been working with that is relocating into the area. That might be it for me for like people that I know or like have transferred jobs or jobs have moved them this way.
I have one also that I can specifically think of off the top of my head.
Right.
How about Harrisburg Carlisle on this list?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting.
I guess. I mean,
like Western or Midwestern Pennsylvania doesn't make a list anywhere for anything.
Yeah. I lived in Carlisle for like a year and a half.
Did you? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But Harrisburg is booming right now, with the airport and there's look, Tom's
I haven't
like,
been to Harrisburg since a 7th grade field trip, so you'll have to fill me in, Stacy.
It is. It's becoming like a big hub for distribution centers, and it's
That's
really, really growing. So I can see why that's on the list. People are moving to that area for sure. Yeah.
Well, you get a lot more bang for your buck in marketplaces like that. I mean, I'm surprised that in general, I mean, you look at how close these places are to D.C., Philadelphia, New York. Just take those three. It's surprising to me you haven't seen more development. Lancaster's another area that has. I mean, that's kind of adjacent there. So, is that in the Carlisle Harrisburg metro? Is that how it works?
No, Carlisle's like out further. I think Carlisle's like a little bit past Harrisburg. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Lancaster's in between.
Yeah.
In between like Harrisburg and here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Lancaster's like
Mm-hmm.
in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But for Philadelphia, Philadelphia's always been called like the small city. You know what I mean? And you're right, Tom. It is underrated as far as compared to Washington and New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's why people love it also, because it's right in the middle.
Right.
You can get to everywhere you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
You can get to DC quickly, New York, all the airports, all the major highways and arteries. So it's I like seeing Philadelphia on the list here because it's going to come out to the suburbs too, where we are. I mean, we've seen that already.
For sure. And I mean, it's also, you look at the places that are mentioned here where, and some of the reasons that you're seeing that people are making more money here now. There's more companies that are coming to the area. And, the thing here, and my hope is that it seems like consumers are now realistic that they're not going to see 3% and 4% rates again. And that's the thing that not a lot of people are talking about. I mean, getting to 6.25% locally, and they've been bouncing, and that's not everybody. That's like A+ credit. You got a lot of cash in the bank. Those are the kind of people that are getting those rates. It's all individuals. One of our lenders mentioned that today. I think that's pretty important just to annotate here. The average, mortgage rate we saw across the country is like 6.61% at the end of last week. So even seeing those rates in that they're much more normal, and people I think they're tired of waiting. I mean, it's last year I think people thought and we had that time in January. Remember, it was like 5.99 last January, and the market got real hot, and they jumped up to 7, and it was kind of a slog after that. I see the opposite happening now, where they stay here. It's going to keep more of a consistent, regular pace to the market, which I'm pretty optimistic about.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah.
Are you getting a lot of people telling you they're still waiting for rates to come down?
That's one thing you do hear. Oh, rates are still high, and then, but do you know what they are today? What are they?
Right.
And then you tell them what the average is. So, and some are surprised, but yeah, if you can educate them and have a conversation with them, if you can get past that, and it's really just an excuse that they're saying to kind of push you off to like not go too deep into it. But if you can really engage with them and get to their motivation and find out what's going on, they're more open and receptive to it.
Right.
Especially if you can even convey that there's options out there. Maybe there's lender credits.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're buying new construction, there's builder credits, builder buy down. I mean, there's so many things out there. If people would just be open-minded and be receptive to learning about what the information is, and if you're an agent that can convey those options, then you're going to be all right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like the rate thing at this point is very much a way to just be like, versus, how it actually to them factors in and like what it means. Yeah.
Well, there's an opportunity there with this rate question, because we know, I think we're all clear. Like, if they were in the high 5s by the end of this year, everyone should be pretty happy about that. If you just automatically dismiss somebody who says, I'm waiting for rates to come down, instead of asking questions like, so, hey, Sarah, what do you understand about mortgage rates in the long view, not just the past 2 years? Or, what do you know about the rate trajectory? Or, hey, what's your backup plan if you don't buy a property? These are the questions that you need to ask these folks, because if you're just telling them, hey, you're wrong, rates are never going to come down, how would you react to that?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Not well.
Doesn't go
right.
So and Sarah's a very easygoing person, so she's already annoyed. Imagine someone that actually like cares about this stuff. I mean, it's a little different. So you've got to, as an agent, be able to ask this question and take all the pressure out of it, so that you're not talking down at people, but helping educate them. And when you have all this positive data, like we talked about, the lock-in effect looks like it's easing. More inventory. Rates are substantially lower than they were in November. Forget what the projections are. We're just talking about the last 60 days. And you're seeing that, sellers are negotiating. They're accepting terms on things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about here. And it's probably all the more reason you want to connect with someone that knows what they're talking about in the first place, and having like a planning session or a strategy meeting. And the agents that are trying to bypass that step and just get them out to show properties or just get them out to the market, they're the ones that are going to be missing out. Have you noticed an uptick in meetings without showing properties with clients over the past 30, 60, 90 days? Or more in-depth conversations? Sometimes this can be done over the phone. I mean, I've listed homes over the phone before, so it doesn't need to be like an in-person sit-down. Are you seeing more information gathering or more education up front rather than just going and looking at properties?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'd have to say that.
I would say more like over the phone. Like, I haven't done a lot of just like in person, just meeting to do like the consultation, but it's like over the phone, going a lot more in depth before getting out there.
Same.
Yeah.
I've had more over the phone in depth, but I've had a handful of in person. Like, just they were working with other agents and haven't been successful, or they just wanted to go through the process so they have a better understanding. And I'm always open to that.
Oh, yeah.
I love sitting down and going over everything before we start looking.
Oh, yeah.
If that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you meet them first at the showing.
Right.
Sometimes it works out that way.
Right.
But if you do have the opportunity to sit down, and you can just cover more ground and really explain things, the focus isn't the house that you're seeing.
Right.
The focus is the process and how we're going to walk through this.
Right. And it just
answer your
like sets the
questions.
stage for them when you go out. Like, it makes
Yes.
everything so much easier.
It does.
But yeah, I feel like I'm more likely to have, just because of people's work schedules and whatnot, like to be able to like get commitment for like, an in-depth call. But yeah.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, I'm not surprised to hear that. I think this is going to help consumers a lot, being able to do that. And here's what I envision happening. We're running a training around this about how to show value as a buyer agent, because in the past, I don't know, 2-3 years. I mean, just think about the last time this wasn't the case. There's so many people that just they show houses and expect them to buy. They're not actually like meeting them in the process. And imagine if you went into every meeting with a buyer and you said, "Hey, so Sarah and Stacy, I know you guys are thinking about buying something. Here's what most agents are going to do for you. They're going to meet you. They're going to put you on a property drip, and they're going to wait for you to call them and tell them what you want to do. Here's all the things I'm going to do differently." And you lay out, I'm going to break down closing costs for you. I'm going to show you how the process works. I'm going to give you advice on how we can negotiate potentially with a seller, what the situation is for a property. I'm going to prospect off-market properties this way. And you had a whole value prop. Then when you share, this is all the things we're going to do differently, and here's what's going on in the market, I don't see how an agent that doesn't do that is going to really do any business unless they happen to know someone or have the relationship, because that's where this is going right now. And this is what always used to work really well prior to 2020, and people just got away from it because you didn't need to. Let's face it, the market was so hot. Homes were moving at a record pace. Now it's not quite like that, and there's some uncertainty in the market. So I think that the thing you're telling people to do here makes a ton of sense. And if I'm an agent right now, or I'm a consumer, if my agent's not meeting with me and showing me what's going on, I'm a little concerned. And if you're an agent, you need to start doing this if you're not already.
100%.
Any other way you feel like we should interpret this positive news here? I'm feeling really good with all this data coming out. January 2nd. I mean, it just seems like that there's a lot of positivity in the market that we haven't had for quite a while.
Yeah, no, I think it's exciting.
All right, Positive Pete over here, Sarah Timon. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We are going to discuss some cybersecurity issues that happened with First American, and then we're going to get into our over-under predictions for the market in 2024. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
For the best local mortgage service and great rates on your money, look no further than Mortgage America. We've been operating in the greater Philadelphia area for 40 years with a focus on smooth, easy access to home purchasing. Whether you're a first-time buyer, upsizing or downsizing, or just refinancing, we have programs for you. We also have closing cost assistance programs and access to subsidized interest rates. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. To learn more, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000. We always have a person available to take your call with around-the-clock human service. Purchase your home with the personalized, local service you find at Mortgage America.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
The Tom Toole Sales Group is the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania with over $165 million in volume for 2021. I'm Tom Toole, and our team has achieved that kind of success by being a great place to work with and to work for. No one knows Greater Philly better than we do. We know real estate, but more importantly, we're real people. We hire the best agents, and we give them all the tools to succeed. Even our brand new agents sell 17 to 24 homes a year because our team delivers the best experience in real estate. Teams deliver a better experience than individuals, and we're a top 1% real estate team in the country. We call it AAA service. We're your advocate, ally, and advisor. Because this isn't a transaction to us, it's a relationship. If you're buying or selling a home, call the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. That's Tom, Toole with an E. Sell your home for more, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line.
Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Stacy Mitchell. She's Sarah Timon. We've got Nick Wolf behind the camera. We all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we're going to talk about something that I don't think gets talked about enough in the industry, cybersecurity, especially with wiring instructions. I'm going to go over that in a second here and some things that happened with First American over the holiday break. And then we're going to give you our over-under predictions for key metrics in the housing market. So if you like what you hear, or you just want to schedule a time to talk about your real estate needs in regard to this, click on the link in the comments, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications, and we'll keep the content coming every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. So First American, if you don't know who they are, they're the second largest title insurer in the country. They've got a bunch of subsidiaries. There's really like 4 major ones. And there was an incident on December 20th regarding cybersecurity. And there was a systems outage that derailed closings across the country. And they have over 2,000 locations. So this is not like a small attack here.
Right.
This got announced midday on Thursday. Merry Christmas, everybody, right before the holiday. On Friday, clients were notified that it had taken the email system offline and that recipients should be wary of any emails that come through firstam.com. And in addition, the title firm filed a document with the SEC stating that it was working diligently to restore systems it had taken offline but could not estimate the duration or extent of the disruption. So, this stuff happens. I mean, I don't think it's anybody's fault here. I mean, and we'll get into some of the details in a second. What First American, their umbrella includes First American Title, First American Title Guarantee, as well as another 24 subsidiaries. And the websites for DataTrace and ACI, which are a valuation technology subsidiary, were offline. The mortgage servicer subsidiary had come back online, and I mean they had to pay $1 million back in 2019 because of a cybersecurity incident because they had a violation to the Department of Financial Services in New York. So this stuff happens, and unfortunately, these title companies get targeted a lot because people are constantly wiring money in and out. So, in knowing this is the case, before we get into all this, how do you guys handle your do you have very clear conversations with your people? I know what we're supposed to be doing, but I want consumers to get wary that you can't just rely on your email here to tell you what to do when it comes to these settlements.
Yeah, I mean, I know for like the title company that we use a lot, there's very clear instructions that are sent out multiple times being like, do not just like wire money. Like this is like, the fraud alert. This is like the policy. This is the only way that we will ever be contacting you, like in this form. Like if you get something else, even if it looks legit, like call, like never just wire the money. Like if you're unsure, call, double check. And they're great about, availability. They always pick up the phone. Because they can, I think there's a lot of things out there that can look very legit. And, you're stressed out. You don't want to, it's getting up to the settlement date. You want to make sure your money's in. You're trying to like check everything off. And they're sneaky.
Yeah. And man, some of the emails, they look identical. Like you really wouldn't know. Yeah. It could totally happen. If my clients are unsure, I just tell them to go to the bank, have the bank help them do the transfer and to call. Yeah. Call our title company, call Kelly, call Alyssa. Yeah. They're there to help.
Right.
So, because we just want to be sure that the money's going to the right place. It's so high stress. And like you said, Sarah, it's so high stress going through the entire process. If you had inspections, getting your mortgage, blah, 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 you're coming down to the last and final thing.
Right.
Wiring your funds for closing. If you can't bring a certified check.
Yeah, because if you're over like 100,000 per person or whatever on it, like it's you can't just go get it. Like you have to wire.
Yeah. And for earnest deposits too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's just a good idea to have open and clear communication with your clients. Like, do not. Luckily for us, our back office sends out once we get a buyer under contract.
Yeah.
A one-page consolidated checklist. It's called Important Dates to Remember. It clearly spells out where the earnest deposit goes to. But not only that, I tell my clients, if you'd like to do a wire transfer, I will get you the information. I will find that information for you. Do not, try to take it upon yourself.
Right.
Or you can have a certified check to the other brokerage firm or whoever's holding the escrow. But yeah, you have to be perfectly clear with this. This is people's money you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And most people they're aware. Most people are aware of all the fraud that's going on and they understand.
Right.
So I'm so glad you both said I call to confirm, because if you're not doing that, it's very easy to spoof an email address. If you don't know what that is, it's basically someone copies your email. This has happened to folks before where they can go in. I mean, you could download any one of your photos right now from our website. Like, we're out there as real estate agents. Make up some new email. It could be, TomTooleRemax@gmail.com or something, right? And then email them, says Tom Toole or Stacy Mitchell or Sarah Timon. And you could email your clients, and this has happened. And they say, hey, here's the new wiring instructions. So that's why the back office is really important. That's one of the value props of having a team versus an individual. And we also confirm everything over the phone, because if you're not doing that, like that violates your cybersecurity insurance that we have, which we have that in place for this reason. So that's really critical. The other thing is, you don't just want to be cavalier with this stuff. And, you're dealing with a lot of money here. Wire transfers are meant to be safe. But if you're not in communication with your client base and telling them, like, hey, here's what goes on, here's what happens, and our title company, they'll send out, like, hey, wire fraud is real all the time. Now, the challenge with this, too, is they also have a lot of, like, personal information on these websites, and especially these databases. So it was apparently a ransomware attack that happened. And there's like a gang out there. It's called Alv and Black Cat or something. I don't know what any of this is. And they had 1.3 million customers had their information compromised. So, I mean, these are just challenges that come up. And it's really why you want to make sure you have a team guiding you, number one, but also like there's somebody helping you as an agent. Because if you don't have an assistant, you're trying to do all this stuff yourself, and then you are the assistant, it gets really challenging. So, so you call to confirm. Any other steps you take? I mean, I always go over the settlement sheet with people. I make sure, like, when you're dealing with the money at the end, I find that to be really important. Anything else that you're doing to help safeguard people, or just over communication?
Yeah, and I mean, I would say there has been more than one occasion where I have looped, the settlement officer in on like a conference call, like, the day before or leading up, if there are any questions about, little line items, or if they are nervous about wiring it or whatnot, just being like, you know what, let's all just like connect on a quick call here. And that tends to make people feel a lot better.
Yeah, I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. Because I think that then it's coming right from the title company.
Yes.
Cutting right through the chase there.
Right.
And that's for buyers and sellers both.
Yep.
And our title company, they're just great.
Yeah.
And they'll sit down and go over each and every line item to explain it. And they will also make sure that the client knows exactly where to wire funds or where they want their funds to be wired to if you're a seller. So for the title company that we use, I know they take, an abundance of caution, and they themselves warn our clients too about the threat of cyber attacks. But I've worked on the other side in other companies, other brokerage firms that use other title companies. Luckily, I haven't had any problems.
Right.
Some send their information through secured portals that only the buyers or seller, can access by setting up an email address and creating a password. So it works well that way too. But I think there's a lot of safeguards in place, but you just have to be clear and transparent with your clients about what to expect.
Right.
Yeah, it's not the most fun topic to discuss. When you see companies like First American, if they're vulnerable, these people that do this, they're very intelligent. And it's you're not like you're dealing with someone that doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, it's criminals are intelligent people, and they tend to be able to outthink and zig and zag and do all those things. So just verify everything over the phone is the best advice I have for anybody here. This is what you want to be doing. I mean, we're very fortunate to have with our team at our firm, we have cybersecurity insurance in place, so we can make sure that we can protect ourselves and our clients in that regard. I would highly recommend you just have a conversation with your insurance carrier about what cybersecurity insurance looks like as a business, because if you don't have it and something happens, it can be a lot of money and a lot of trouble. So not a great place to be. We've got a little breaking news here on the show. So we'll finish out our segment here with this. So this just got released that there's a Maryland home seller who filed a commission lawsuit in Missouri. So the copycat lawsuits continue. This was filed last Wednesday. The news just came out today. It's called the UMPA suit, and it's accused the real estate industry of allegedly colluding to artificially inflate real estate commissions. We've heard this before. This suit was filed in the same district as the Sitzer-Burnett suit, but this person, UMPA, is a resident of Maryland, and the lawsuit is in regards to the sale of two homes, one in Maryland and one in Ohio. And this person sold the Ohio home with Redfin and the Maryland home with Compass. And they paid substantial buyer-broker compensation. The listed defendants in the lawsuit include NAR, KW, Home Services, EXP, Weichert, Howard Hanna. All the companies, with the exception of Anywhere and Remax, already settled the suit. And it argues kind of the same point. The lawsuit is seeking class action status for everyone in the U.S. who sold a house on an MLS and used an agent from one of the brokerage defendants between December 27th, 2019 and the present. And the proposed class definition includes exceptions for properties listed by Keller Williams and Home Services based on when the sale occurred and which MLSs were involved. So, this is another twist here in this commission lawsuit copycat era that we're in now. What do you two think about this?
Wait, so they filed in a state that they didn't even have any transactions
They're in Maryland.
Right.
They filed in Missouri for homes sold in Ohio
and Maryland.
And they're filing on behalf of all home sellers.
No, that's the class. They're looking to go class action. Right now, there's not someone else.
Okay. Interesting. How did they do that? They didn't sell a house in Missouri.
Right. So it's just getting very jumbled.
I guess because they want to use the same. Is it the same district? I'm sure the same judge. Maybe they want to use the same poll.
Well, it was the same district, and I would imagine that had something to do. I'm not a legal expert. I'd imagine that had something to do with it.
That's their strategy. Okay, we already got a verdict here, so let's try this angle. I don't know. It's add it to the pile,
right?
Because they're all, there's how many are there now? We've lost count.
Right, but they're like 50.
This is the 10th one.
Oh, I was up there.
Feels
with you
like 50.
I know. Yeah, just add it to the pile. I mean, we really have to get through the first one, through all these appeals.
Mm-hmm.
I think after the appeals happen, that's gonna be where these lawsuits go.
Right.
It's gonna hang on this appeal process here to see what happens. But we're gonna get more.
There's going to be more of these. This is actually one of the things we're going to predict in the next segment, how many of these cases there will pile up by the time we get to the end of 2024. And then we're going to come back and see if we were right or wrong. This is going to continue. What I'm not the thing I'm most surprised about it when you look at all these lawsuits is there have not been more MLSs named in the lawsuit. There was one that got named, I believe it was in one of the lawsuits here of the other 9 that were out there. And, when you look at the MLS and NAR, I kind of get it because there's that forced usage of that could, that could have some validity to it. And eventually what I see happening, and this is what RE/MAX and Anywhere had done, is they said, hey, you don't have to be members of NAR anymore. The problem is that the local association forces us, if you want MLS access, you got to be part of an association, which I think that's going to be a problem here. And it should be something where you can just, hey, MLS access is this. You want to join the board, it's that, but they're not tied together. I mean, that to me is probably one of the big things that's likely going to come out of these lawsuits. The fact that they're going to Missouri is very interesting, and it sounds like they're getting some good legal advice, which is why I believe the first lawsuit went in the decision that favored the plaintiffs because they didn't have a great defense. Mm-hmm. So more to come. We'll keep our eyes on this one here. So why don't we take a quick break? We're going to come back. We're going to make over-under predictions on certain key metrics within the market. I'm going to give context. We're going to explain what our predictions are, and we will give you an idea what to expect in 2024 next on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 12850.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit TomToole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line.
I'm Tom Toole of the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line. If you're thinking of becoming a real estate agent in the greater Philly area, I have a special offer for you. Our team did $165 million of volume in 2021, making us the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania and a top 1% team nationally. Our agents love us because we offer them a successful career, a great life, and an unbeatable culture. Agents who've been with us for at least a year average 30-plus sales. Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales a year. We offer proven systems and expert training. We help you set more appointments and sell more houses. Now, here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out at realestateScholarshipProgram.com or visit the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line at TomToole.com. That's TomToole.com. Get more out of your real estate career, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
You shouldn't have to deal with all the red tape when getting your mortgage from a big or online bank. At Mortgage America, we have access to big bank money, but with the personalized and detailed service of a local bank. We are here in your community and ready to serve with fast settlements, low down payment options, and first-time homebuyer programs. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. For more information, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender. NMLS 128501.
All right. Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Timon. She's Stacy Mitchell. We have Nick Wolf behind the camera. We all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we're going to give you some over-under predictions on the market for 2024 and name some of our 2023 winners and losers. So we'll go through all this now, and then we'll kind of see how we made out at the end of the year. So if you get some value out of this, make sure to subscribe on the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications, or click on the link in the comment if you want to schedule a call about your needs with our amazing team. So here's what we're going to do, ladies. You get the over-under concept, right? Stacy's probably got some secret DraftKings account that we don't know about. So I'm going to give you a couple stats, and then we're going to actually, let's start with the biggest winners and the biggest losers of this year and who will be the biggest winners and biggest losers of next year. And think about like a company or an individual. Looks like you guys are thinking about this. We'll do this at the end. This is a little bit of a surprise here. So let's go over the over-under first. So mortgage rates. To give some context, the average mortgage rate at the end of last week was 6.61%. So this is a national number. The line that we set was 6.375% for the average for the year. Are we going to be over or under at the end of 2024?
Under.
Over.
Well, tell us more.
I think we'll be below that. I think the way that the rates are trending and with the Fed signaling that they're going to be, dropping the basis rate, I think it's going to fuel the mortgage market. And we're going to see rates probably in the high fives. That's my prediction.
I think that there's going to be periods that they have dipped down. And I think that for certain home buyers, their rate will be in the high fives. But if it's the national average for everyone who purchases a home, if we were down at 6.25 but the end of last year, but the national was 6.61. I feel like we're going to it's going to be right around there, but I think we'll be just over.
So I'm actually with Stacy on this. I believe we're going to be under. Well, I hope I'm right and you're wrong in this case. And I'm not holding any punches here. With the Fed saying they're going to make 3 rate decreases and the fact that they've adjusted their inflation target. It's not 2% anymore. It's 2.4%. That's going to bode really well for us. And if they continue to do that, and some people are predicting even more rate cuts. I mean, that's just what they've committed to. Now, we don't know what's actually going to happen. That, to me, is pretty exciting. So I see us being just under 6.375% on the average for the year. Obviously, you can get lower rates, like you said, Sarah. That's a very good point. That's the average. So number of home sales in 2024. This is not sides. This is number of home sales. So seasonally adjusted 4.25 million. To give some perspective here, the seasonally adjusted number that we saw this year was right around 4 million. So, I mean, I want everyone to kind of understand that. So, are we going to get to 4.25 million?
I say yes.
Yeah, I say yes.
I'm going to go over.
Ooh.
I know.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think with the interest rates, there's so many people that sat on the sidelines and they're going to be like, okay, now is the moment. Because number one, it is an election year and there is uncertainty. But if people are thinking, let's do this now before whatever may be, let's get this right. I think it's going to really fuel and drive the housing market. and I think that it's really key those interest rates in where that home sale is going to fall.
So I'm also over on these. I don't think people can wait anymore. And right now, if you look at some of the data coming out from NAR, it's 25% of homeowners are thinking about selling this year. Doesn't mean they're all going to sell. Right. I mean, I can tell you that would be insane. So if we and we're seeing inventory coming up, the listing deficit's decreasing. If supply comes up, people will buy those homes. As long as they're priced right, they show well. We know the qualifications there. So I see it being slightly over. I could see like 4.3, 4.4 million, somewhere around there. Some people, the predictions are anywhere between like 4 million and like 4.71 million is the number. So there's a lot of that going on. I like it a little over that, like somewhere in the 4.3, 4.4 range could be the case. But it's because of people being okay with rates. We talked about this before. You can't wait much longer. Mm-hmm. The people that wait it and have like little kids, right? So you've got a young daughter, right? I've got little kids. When you start to run out of space in your home, it gets worse every day.
Yeah.
And those are a lot of the people that feel locked in right now. Mm-hmm. So they also create inventory when they move, because when they go buy something, well, then their house goes up for sale typically. So I see that as a little bit of an upstream effect. I know Ricky Caruth's been very big on this, that there's more 30-some-year-olds in the country than ever. So that's going to be pretty important.
And the other group is boomers. Boomers are still, they're aging out rapidly now. So they're either downsizing, relocating, or going into other living situations, maybe with family or assisted living and things like that. I think that's a big group of people.
All right. So we're in agreement there. 1.4 million real estate agents. Now, unfortunately, the number we have is from NAR, so it's not necessarily the most accurate number. That's the number we got. We ended the year around 1.59 million. So will we see 1.4 million agents next year, over or under?
Under.
Yeah, I'm inclined to go under.
Tell us more about these predictions. I agree with you.
If you follow any real estate boards or posts or groups that are out there, I mean, there's so much negativity. There's so many agents are like, I'm done this year, just totally put the nail in the coffin. It's more of that I see than people actually saying, I love selling real estate. I love helping people. This is my calling and I'm going to stay in it. No, you see the opposite. Like, I can't make ends meet. I'm finding a job.
And it's a year that, at least here, I mean, I don't know how it goes nationally, but like continued education is due for renewal in May. So, and that's, I mean, it's not like it's like that much time or that much, like, it's not like insanely time consuming, but it is something that you need to spend time doing. And if you're already kind of thinking of not, like, that might be like,
And dues were due, dues. And it costs money, too, for the CEs if you're not finding, free credits. So all that comes into play, and I think we're going to see less agents. It was a tough year for a lot of people.
I'm going with slightly under here. I don't think it's going to be much more than that, but because it's a renewal year, this is when people drop off. If you're already there's some people that are already out of the business that still have a license. Like, let's be very clear. Like, I mean, look, we are always looking to bring great new people onto our team. I chart the production for some of these people, and it's like, oh, they had a great year in 2021, and they did nothing in 2022 and sold like one. I mean, you can see the trends. So there's a paying your bills and living that a lot of people don't get, and that's why you typically see the folks that have a real drive or like a real need to make money. They do well in this business, because it's not like you can just show up and work when you want, even though that's what people envision happens in real estate. Flexible schedule, right? That's
totally.
Flexible meaning I'm working 7 days a week.
Right.
Or at least potentially. So we're all in agreement there. 50 copycat lawsuits.
Oh, maybe that's where I was getting the 50 number from.
That's definitely where you got it, yes.
It could totally pile up to that. I don't know. We're at 10, right? And when was that ruling?
That came out at the end of last week, so.
Yeah, when did
the ruling?
Yeah, when did
November?
Yes.
Or no, it was Halloween.
Was it Halloween?
Yes.
So it wasn't that long,
right?
That lawsuit they ruled in favor. But the appeals process has to play out. So I mean, and there's already 10 lawsuits. So I mean, it could go up. I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one for me. Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, we need an answer. This isn't a. We're not playing a game show here.
Okay, I will say under slightly.
Yeah, I feel like under slightly, but only because I think they're gonna bring a lot of people into each. Like they're gonna try to get as many people into each suit as they can. I think they're gonna like actively even in the thing that you were just reading there, it was saying like we're calling for anybody who was involved in a real estate transaction. So I think the numbers of people involved in it are gonna just continue to escalate. But I think the total number of lawsuits will be. I don't think it'll exceed 50.
I agree with you because that would mean one per state, right? So these things start getting ruled on. Well, if you notice the one that just got this UMPA lawsuit, they didn't mention the companies that already settled, right? And some of these things are going to settle. So I believe it's going to be under. There's going to be a lot of them. Don't get. I mean, there's multiple in Texas. A lot of this is going to depend on the politics of the state too, and who the judge is, and there's all these variables. So. I do agree. It's going to be under slightly. And some of these cases are going to consolidate or just go away. So it sounds like we're in agreement on a lot of these, which I like. So we got like 4 minutes left here. Biggest winner, individual and company in real estate 2023 and prediction for 2024. I'm going to give you mine first.
Yeah.
All right. So biggest winner for me individually is Greer Allen at Boomtown because he sold the tech company, and I think that is a very hard thing to do. We don't know the price, we don't know the terms. He's now working with Inside Real Estate. I think that is one of the best business moves you're going to see because what we're seeing is all these companies are consolidating, and Zillow just bought Follow Up Boss. So that's not someone I'd want to be going up against as a winner. I think it was a really smart move for Greer to sell the company to the right people. He was able to keep some of his folks on at the company. I think that's one of the biggest winners for sure. Biggest winner in 2023 from a company, and this is also my prediction for 2024, is RE/MAX and Anywhere because they have settled these lawsuits. And I believe that we're going to see a decoupling of the National Association of Realtors and the MLS. I think it's going to happen. I mean, that seems to be, from talking to my attorneys, the people that we rely on advice on, they said, well, this is part of the problem. And I said, I kind of agree that, you want MLS access, Sarah, here, sign up for this board. You got to be part of this board, cut a check for another $700.
Yep.
That's what happens. So I liked it. And part of RE/MAX and Anywhere's suit was, hey, you're going to not have to be members of NAR anymore. So I think that's pretty smart from a company standpoint. And they played offense instead of defense like NAR and these other companies did in the Sitzer-Burnett suit. So those are my biggest winners. My prediction for biggest winner individually next year is going to be people that take their business seriously and are knowledge brokers because you cannot just go around not knowing your stuff because consumers are too smart right now and they're going to sniff it out and the market's not hot enough for you to do business by default. Yeah. So those are my winners for 2024. You guys got anything you want to add in?
I guess for winners, maybe like agents that are able to focus heavily on listings to maybe
that is a great one.
Depending on how these different lawsuits go or whatever, just to, if you're on the listing side, to kind of get ahead of that.
Well, we only got to the winners. We're getting played off here, so we'll cover some of this next week. That's it for this week's episode. You want to follow Sarah? She's at Ty Time. You can on Instagram. You can follow Stacy at @2 Mitchko on Instagram. You can follow me at TomToole3RD. We're here every week streaming live on YouTube. It's Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.